Hey guys, how you guys doing? So in today's video, we're gonna build a stable for our donkey Ronaldo. Yeah, that's his name. And also we're gonna talk a bit more about the three main parts that compose or that make up our brain or how we think and so on. So the three parts are awareness, observer, and thinker. And to better understand these concepts, we're gonna use the ocean as an example. So imagine a big ocean. Yeah. So the awareness is the entire ocean. It's always still, deep, always present. Then we have the observer, which is someone who's sitting on a boat. And then we have the thinker, which is waves on the surface of the ocean just passing by. So awareness is where we always want to be, or we can say is the higher power. Because uh, if we're closer to awareness, we'll feel better and we'll feel more present, we'll feel relaxed, and so on. And in order to get to awareness, the observer is used as a tool. So what do we do as an observer? We observe the waves going by, and the waves going by are just thoughts. So yeah, so you sit on the boat and just watching your thoughts. That's what you can do in order to stop negative thinking, in order to stop overthinking and so on. So let's say I get a thought right now of what do I have to do to build something, for instance. So yeah, I in my mind I I observe that thought, which it means that I just I'm conscious that I'm thinking that. So I say, okay, I'm thinking this, and but I don't judge it. I don't say, oh, I shouldn't be thinking this, or I want to be thinking differently. So I just observe it, which is I'm conscious that I'm thinking about that. Don't judge it and just observe it as it goes by like a wave. So yeah, if we observe more and sit on that boat, we will become more closer to awareness, which is when we're always present, we're in the present moment. Another way is to, instead of focusing, because the thinker wants attention, right? So you could focus your attention on your breath, and the thinker is just gonna be playing in the background like a radio. So it's like a radio, and when you stress or suffer, is because you hear the radio, which is the thinker, but you think that what you hear on the radio is you, but it's not actually you. It's just a radio in the background that you can decide to let it play, and that's it, or you can ignore it by not giving it attention and focus on your breath. And what's interesting about this is that you won't get bored when you truly watching your breath. You only think you're bored when your attention slips back into the thinker. So that's really interesting because I think life is a lot about the decisions you make when you're bored. Like I said, you always have two options. When I'm bored, I can either take the good path, doing something productive. I can watch my breath, or I can fall on negative habits, and that's what we want to avoid, because we think that negative habits will do us good, uh, because it gives you a dopamine kind of shot. It it makes you happy really quickly, or it brings you, yeah, but then you'll feel down in a couple of hours, so it's not worth it. So yeah, the thinker is basically a stream of thoughts, often involuntary and repetitive. It stays active as long as you're unconsciously feeding into it. So just feeding your attention. When you shift your attention to the breath, you're no longer feeding the thinker. You're giving your attention to something neutral, simple, and grounded, the present moment, that starves the thinker of energy. So, yeah, if you want to stop overthinking, just focus on your breath. That's a superpower, I can say. And yeah, the mind is not really mean. Doesn't want to be mean. I've always questioned myself. Oh, why is it so negative, or it treats me so bad? But it doesn't want to. It just wants to survive. So it replays scenarios where you might have been hurt to avoid them, and so on. So yeah, and stress didn't come from the thoughts themselves. It came from believing they were you. So that's crazy. That's crazy to think about it. It's not the thoughts themselves that's causing you all the suffering, all the stress. It's actually believing that what you hear on the radio is you, and it's not you. It's just a radio playing, and that's the thing. You cannot turn off the radio because it has unlimited power, and that's its function, to just think. That's it's like the lungs, it's like the heart. You every organ. So now we're gonna talk a bit more about a book called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. I recommend you guys to read this book. But really quickly, we're just gonna say that Singer emphasizes that thoughts are not inherently you. They're more like passing events in your mind that you can observe without getting caught up in them. He talks about the mind as this constant stream of chatter, an inner roommate that's always commenting, complaining, or pulling you into its drama. Negative thoughts, in particular, have a way of grabbing your focus because they're emotionally charged. So that's really important to know, because negative thoughts feel stronger because they are emotionally charged. But Singer suggests that you don't need to engage with them. Instead, he encourages a practice of stepping back and watching them, almost like you're sitting on the sidelines of your own mental movie. The idea is that by not feeding them your attention, they lose their power and eventually pass by on their own, just like waves. Like you're sitting on the boat, just watching the thoughts go by. For example, he might describe how a negative thought like "I'm not good enough" pops up and tries to hook you into a spiral of self doubt. But rather than wrestling with it or trying to argue with that thought, you just notice it there and let it flow through without grabbing onto it. This ties into the broader point about staying open and not letting your inner energy get blocked by clinging to these mental disturbances. So yeah, that's really interesting. And yeah, my recommendation is that you could watch your breath and just tap into the awareness. That's like the higher power, in my opinion. That's what all the religions really talked about. That's where you actually meet God, because we often think God as a figure and all that, but we could actually live life as we are on heaven. As of right now, we could. I know we obviously there are difficulties, and we need our basic necessities, but yeah, it's just something that's really interesting, and it could really help you. So thank you guys very much. Have a good day.